Hello and happy Tuesday, which is of course my book reviews day, and today I want to talk to you about The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. This novel from 2022 expertly captures some grief horror, some cosmic supernatural horror, and wraps it all up into a Southern Gothic horror novel taking place in Georgia between two time periods. It's a novel that follows the protagonist, or one of the protagonists, Nellie Gardner, and her preteen son Max, as they pack up and leave behind their old lives to move into the estate of her distant grandfather. He was a man, August Redfern, who was behind a booming turpentine business back in the day. It has since fell into disrepair. It's since fell into kind of hard times. She has inherited this estate, and she decides that this is the perfect fresh start for her and her son that they need. But it soon becomes apparent that all is not as it seems at Redfern Hill, and there are some spooky situations going on beneath the scenes, into the woods and beneath the soil. And, well, it's not long before you're dragged into hell along with, not literal hell, but dragged into chaos with Nellie and her son. If the theme of parent with a troubled past, with a troubled parent or grandparent taking their kid to a family land sounds familiar, well, that's because it's a very similar premise in a way to both the Book of Accidents and Sundial, which is very funny that, all three of these novels have that reoccurring theme. I mean, Sundial involves a parent taking their kid to the land they grew up on, to Sundial, where they had a troubled past. Hollow Kind involves Nellie taking her son Max to her grandfather's estate, grandfather's land, where she had recently, not recently, it was like 10 years prior, had a very strange summer with the grandfather. And the Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig, which also involves a father and his wife and his, I say father, the father's not really involved in either of those. A parent taking their child to a land, to the land of their parents that was left for them. But all three novels are vastly different. So if you're like, wow, that sounds familiar, don't think that you're getting the same novel. Book of Accidents was very much more of a sci-fi novel. Sundial was more of a psychological horror or scientific horror. But perhaps my favorite of the three is The Hollow Kind. This, I think, perfectly encapsulated like Southern Gothic horror with a little bit of grief horror in the alternating chapters. Which is one thing to note, is that Nellie Gardner is not the only storyline here. The chapters alternate between Nellie Gardner and Max in the 1980s, and a backstory bringing you up to speed on August Redfern's past, starting back in the 1919? That's when it starts? 1917? 1917. And then it carries on through the years. So August Redfern's chapters were just fascinating. His chapters are more grief horror. If you have read Midas by Tyler Jones and you liked Midas, you're going to like August Redfern's chapters. You're going to love them. If you haven't read Midas and you're like, holy crap, Midas is sold out everywhere because it's only available as limited edition, I wish I could read that, then check out The Hollow Kind, because let me tell you, it's a very similar style with August Redfern's chapters, and they're a blast. Like I said, it is similar in concept. It's like the broadest concept to Sundial and the Book of Accidents, but the novel itself is much more closely linked, in my opinion, to Blackwater by Michael McDowell. Blackwater is the only novel by McDowell that I have read, that I'm familiar with having read. But that one tells the story of the Caskey family over generations and through the years, through their own land and their own business ventures down in Perdido, Alabama, which isn't too dissimilar from Redfern's chapters going through the years within The Hollow Kind. But that being said, I think The Hollow Kind actually pulls it off better than Blackwater, which is probably going to be a controversial opinion. Blackwater, I liked the first part of Blackwater, but I felt that as it went along, it got too soap opera-y if that's the phrase I'm going to use. The supernatural horror in that was too far and few in between the other chapters, whereas Andy Davidson almost overcorrects. He's got a lot of horror in this, a lot of supernatural. Like you are no stranger to the creatures and the evils that Nellie and August and Max are going to encounter here in Georgia. I mean, I know some people want less is more, and that might be too much for them, but I thought it was just the perfect amount. You're not going to get the diminishing returns that I personally felt Blackwater had. Andy Davidson pulls no punches, and in just under 400 pages delivers one hell of a horror novel. I mean, it's filled with incredibly powerful characters. You're going to connect with Nellie. You're going to connect with Max. They don't really make any stupid horror movie or horror novel decisions as characters go. I mean, yeah, they do try to rationalize the things going on, but they all seem like decent rationalizations. And when there's the unexplainable, they have no problem confronting it as being unexplainable. I mean, the characters are smart, and the struggles are real. I mean, there's both the supernatural struggle that they're dealing with here on Redfern Hill, as well as some character struggles as well. She's got a distant cousin, Lonnie, who wants the land for himself. I mean, he has his own ties to the land through his family, and so there's going to be a little bit of personal conflict there as well, beyond the supernatural conflict. There's a little bit of everything here in The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. It's the first book that I've ever read by him, and it's certainly not going to be the last. I want to go and check out his other titles as well. This particular copy is just a trade edition that I got a signed edition of through VJ Books. Nothing too fancy there, but very nice regardless. His novel In the Valley of the Sun did get a limited edition treatment through Midworld Press, and man, are my fingers crossed that they move on to The Hollow Kind next, because I would certainly pick that up. The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson can be picked up anywhere books are sold, so be sure to check it out, especially if you're looking for a combination of brief horror, Southern Gothic, and some supernatural cosmic horror thrown in as well. I do one book review a week on Tuesdays, so please consider subscribing to the channel. Plenty of unboxing videos in between those videos to hold you over as well. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.